What if I told you that the reason you're not achieving your biggest goals isn't because you're not working hard enough, but because you're working on too many things at once? Introduction. Today we're diving deep into a quote that completely changed how I think about productivity and success. Eric Barker said, "You can do anything once you stop trying to do everything." This quote hit me like a lightning bolt because it perfectly captures something most of us struggle with daily. We live in a world that celebrates the hustle, the grind, the ability to juggle multiple projects. But what if that approach is actually sabotaging our success? We're going to explore why this counterintuitive approach to productivity might be the key to unlocking your potential, and I'll share practical strategies to implement this philosophy in your own life. The multitasking myth. The cultural problem. Our society has created a myth that successful people are master multitaskers. We praise people who can wear many hats and handle multiple projects simultaneously. Social media amplifies this, with everyone showcasing their busy schedules and endless side hustles. The science behind focus. But here's what research actually tells us. Human brains aren't wired for multitasking. When we think we're multitasking, we're actually rapidly switching between tasks, and each switch comes with a cognitive cost. Stanford University research shows that people who multitask take up to 25% longer to complete tasks and make 50% more mistakes. The Attention Residue Effect. Psychologist Sophie Leroy discovered something called attention residue. When you switch from task A to task B, part of your attention remains stuck on task A. This means you're never giving your full mental capacity to anything you're working on. Real-world examples. Think about it. When you're checking emails while on a conference call, while mentally planning your next project, how much quality attention is each task really getting? The answer is, not enough to produce your best work. The power of singular focus. Historical examples. History's greatest achievers understood this principle instinctively. When Steve Jobs returned to Apple in 1997, the company had dozens of products. His first move, cut the product line down to just 4 products. This laser focus helped create some of the most innovative products in history. The 80-20 principle. The Pareto principle tells us that 80% of our results come from 20% of our efforts. But if we're spreading ourselves thin across everything, we never identify and capitalize on that crucial 20%. Deep work concept. Cal Newport's research on deep work shows that our ability to focus on cognitively demanding tasks is becoming increasingly rare and increasingly valuable. Those who can focus deeply on important work will thrive in the new economy. The compound effect. When you channel all your energy into one thing, you don't just improve linearly, you improve exponentially. Skills compound, relationships deepen, and expertise develops in ways that scattered effort simply can't match. Why we try to do everything? Fear of missing out. FOMO. We live in an age of infinite opportunities. Every day brings new possibilities, new trends, new chances to pivot or expand. The fear that we might miss the next big thing keeps us chasing multiple rabbits instead of catching one. The shiny object syndrome. New opportunities often seem more exciting than the hard work required to push through obstacles in our current projects. It's easier to start something new than to persist through the difficult middle phase of any worthwhile endeavor. Social pressure. Our culture equates busy with important. People wear exhaustion like a badge of honor. Saying "I'm focused on just one thing" can feel like admitting you're not ambitious enough. Fear of commitment. Choosing one path means closing doors to others, at least temporarily. This requires a level of commitment that can feel scary, especially when we can't guarantee the outcome. Lack of clarity. Sometimes we try to do everything because we haven't figured out what our one thing should be. Without clear priorities, everything feels equally important. Practical strategies for implementation. The one thing method. Ask yourself, what's the one thing I can do such that by doing it, everything else will be easier or unnecessary? This question, popularized by Gary Keller, cuts through the noise and identifies your highest leverage activity. The 3-2-1 rule. If you can't narrow down to one thing immediately, try this progression. List your top 3 priorities. Force yourself to choose 2 that matter most. Finally, select the one that will have the biggest impact. Time blocking. Dedicate specific blocks of time to your chosen focus area. Treat these blocks as sacred appointments with your most important work. Turn off notifications, close other applications, and give your singular focus the attention it deserves. The 90-day sprint. Commit to focusing on one major goal for 90 days. This time frame is long enough to make significant progress, but short enough to maintain motivation and avoid the fear of eternal commitment. The elimination audit. Make a list of everything you're currently doing. Ask yourself, if I stop doing this tomorrow, what would be the real consequence? You'll be surprised how many activities you can eliminate without any meaningful impact. The power of saying no. Warren Buffett said, "The difference between successful people and very successful people is that very successful people say no to almost everything." Practice saying no to good opportunities so you can say yes to great ones. Overcoming common obstacles. But I'll fall behind. The fear that focusing on one thing means missing out on everything else is natural but misguided. You're not falling behind. You're getting ahead by going deeper instead of wider. What about financial security? If financial concerns are driving your need to pursue multiple income streams, consider this. Becoming exceptionally good at one thing often leads to better financial outcomes than being mediocre at many things. My industry requires versatility. Even in industries that value versatility, having one core strength that you're known for will differentiate you and create more opportunities than being a generalist. Dealing with pressure from others. People around you might not understand your newfound focus. They might interpret it as laziness or lack of ambition. Stay committed to your path and let your results speak for themselves. The transformation. When you truly embrace the philosophy that you can do anything once you stop trying to do everything, you'll experience a fundamental shift. Your work will improve in quality, your stress will decrease, and paradoxically, you'll accomplish more by attempting less. Your action step. Here's your challenge. Identify your one thing this week. What's the single most important goal or project that deserves your undivided attention? Write it down, clear your schedule, and give it the focus it deserves. The ripple effect. Remember, this isn't just about productivity. It's about creating a life of intention instead of reaction. When you stop trying to do everything, you start doing the things that matter most with the excellence they deserve. Final thought. Eric Barker's wisdom reminds us that in a world full of distractions, your focused attention is your superpower. Use it wisely, use it intentionally, and watch as your one thing transforms not just your results, but your entire approach to success.